Hey everyone, today I am joined by Sally Esten and Maggie Chilton. And Sally is a holistically fit specialist based out of Melbourne, Australia, and Maggie is a holistic nutritionist based out of Canada. These guys did a challenge a few weeks ago that I participated in, and can't tell you how much fun I had and how much I learned by listening to these guys every morning around 7 a.m. and getting some advice on how to handle my day. So today they're going to be talking about a program called Surviving to Thriving, and it's going to deal with perimenopausal women or women who are experiencing symptoms of perimenopause. So I'll have Sally take it over from here.
Yeah, thanks very much for having us on, Dale. And I'm down in Melbourne, Australia, and Maggie and I teamed up not that long ago, really, because we found that we were going down parallel. Our lives are living very parallel paths, particularly with this perimenopausal stuff going on. But our life was just becoming so busy. We were like literally living in survival mode, so much stress, and we were exhausted, had no energy, and everything was just so much. And on top of that, we had all this bodily stuff happening with perimenopause, and it's like, oh my God, hair falling out, weird hair, heavy periods, all the sort of stuff that was happening as well. And yeah, anyway, we thought, oh my gosh, so we literally have been working together, finding ways to reduce our stress, get more energy, live more simply, and have more fun at the same time. So we formed this group, Your Holistic Fit, and we're really enjoying it. And our aim is to help people, not fast track what we've just been through over a number of years, and fast track it and bring it forward and build up some awareness there. So like you said, we were talking before about perimenopause. You didn't even realize that you're probably in it.
Right.
It's so busy with everything going on, and then all of a sudden, hey, where's this weight coming from? I'm like, hello, Middle. What happened to my hips? OMG. And all that sort of stuff, and erraticness, and I was saying before about brain fog. I get in the car and sometimes I'm thinking, 10 minutes, where am I going? Like, it's just like when you total exhaustion when you first have kids. So it's all starting all over again. So yeah, Maggie and I have been very passionate about looking at different ways of, making a simpler, having a simpler life, and getting our energy back, and getting our hair back, and getting our glow back into our skin, and having fun, enjoying our days, not rather than getting up and going on the hamster wheel every day and, with the blinkers on. We're stopping and letting go and enjoying our life a lot more, aren't we, Mags?
Yes. That's a lot of information. Good job.
I know I'm starting to read a book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself by Joseph, and he talks about the hamster wheel and how if you really want to change your life, you have to change what you're doing. Because if you just wake up and go through the motions every day, nothing is ever going to change for you. And one of the things that I discovered as a result of meeting you guys, because I never even thought about perimenopause, because in my mind I'm still like 16. And and I was an athlete, so changes in my body, I kind of ignore my body, quite frankly, and I just kind of go with the flow, so to speak. But one of the things that I had just mentioned to Sally is that, and I think older moms, because I had my first daughter at 39, I literally went from pregnancy to perimenopause, and I just attributed all of the stuff that I was going through to the pregnancy and being a new mom. And I never thought, perimenopause never really literally entered my mind before meeting you guys. And now it all makes sense. So what I love is that, you have strategies to deal with this. So why don't you talk about some of the strategies that that women who might be going through perimenopause would be, first of all, maybe some of the symptoms that they're experiencing that they don't realize is perimenopause, and also, what they can do about it.
Yeah, well, the symptoms are varied. So it can be anything from heavier periods to no periods to your hair falling out to brain fog to weight gain to insomnia. I mean, the list is really quite endless. It really depends what is right for you. It's basically whatever is out of the norm, whatever is either heightened or then goes away. So just look for changes. And it's the same with everyone. I was exactly the same. I was not listening to what was going on with my body. I was like, no, it's not happening. I'm just going to ignore it.
Right.
And, my periods are getting extremely heavy. And, for about a year. And I thought it was a little odd. And I spoke to my doctor and never said anything, didn't send me for a blood test or anything. And then it got to a point where I was like, okay, this isn't normal.
Right.
And that's when I went for, I requested a blood test, and then they called me the same day saying, you need to go in for a blood transfusion. You're anemic. I was like, what does that mean? Yeah. And so from then, it was a very slippery slope to blood transfusions, to iron IVs, to, this thing. But I felt 1,000 times better once I'd done the iron IVs, and my iron and my blood count was up. And I was like, okay, so this is what normal feels like. I was used to that and thought that was normal. Yeah. So you get used to your new normal. Exactly. And that becomes what you think it is, and your brain fog and your tiredness. But it's not normal at all. So definitely listening to your body is huge. It's like, top. But one of the things, it's funny, as you were talking, I was thinking, oh my gosh, that's one of our strategies in the program that we're doing, is to disrupt your morning, is to, when you wake up, think about something that you're going to do that day that's different, or a way that you can think that's different. Because you're right, if you wake up, roll out of bed, look at your phone, do whatever it is that you do normally to sort of go, okay, that's who I am. I feel good. Yeah, I'm okay. You'll go through that day doing the same thing, being okay. And if you're okay with your life, then great. But most of us are not. Most of us want improvement. Most of us want a better life. Most of us want to feel better. So to do that, you have to wake up and do things differently. And, as they say on Big Brother, expect the unexpected. Allow your life to open up and create that space for creativity and for new opportunities to come in before you even shut them down just because of the way you've been doing things for years. That's one of the strategies that we use.
And you're basically living in survival mode. You're only just getting through when you're doing the same thing day in, day out. And the body's living in this chronic stress state. So, that's part of it, is reducing the stress. And, stress comes on all levels. And we've really been working hard on finding different ways to reduce stress, and the way you start your day is a huge part of it. And varying everything and not doing the same old. But adrenal fatigue, another thing that really happened to me, just kept running on overdrive, totally exhausted, adrenaline, all that sort of stuff, and then adrenal fatigue, and that's really exhausting. And I think the iron thing is a really big part of it, because when you're going through perimenopause, you've got such irregular periods. I think I had one for 6 weeks, and it went for 10 days, and it came back again for 3 weeks, and I had massively low iron, and everything was whack. So, and you're just constantly exhausted, and you don't realize when you're in the bubble that you're actually what's going on. And Maggie, when she finally had the IVs and things, the change was amazing. And then she could reflect back and go, OMG, I don't know how I survived that. The hair started getting back, the colour in your skin started glowing. That was fantastic. But when you're in it, it's a bit like when you said you didn't realise you were in it. Right. You just, on that wagon, and just haven't stopped to look back in.
Yeah, and I do think, if nothing else, undergoing a program like you guys are going to be offering is an opportunity to, see a potential difference in your future. Because I agree with you 100%, and can totally relate, is that when you're in the moment, and when you're in, what I was sharing earlier is that I had a lot of illness around me in my family, and then came to myself at one point. And I really had no idea that it was as bad as it was until it was over. And so, again, just like Maggie was saying, and now I want to get iron IVs, I'm anemic.
Well, here's the thing.
The pills just aren't working, and I don't know. I need to go to Canada for that. But
well, for me, the iron IV was okay. Like I didn't feel as great as people thought I would feel afterwards.
Oh, okay.
It was sorry. Yeah, for me it was the iron IV. It wasn't the iron transfusion, like the blood transfusion. It was the IV because my ferritin, we're getting a bit technical here, but my ferritin went down to a 2.
Wow.
Now ferritin should be between 70 and 90.
Wow.
70 and 90, and I was a 2.
Yes.
And it was at that point, and this is, what we stress during the whole of the program, and what we stress anyway is that you need to be your own health advocate. You need to ask for what you need. So I said to my doctor, well, if you're not going to give me a blood transfusion, I need iron IVs. And she's like, oh, that's a good idea. But everything along my journey, I have pushed for. And this is exactly what I say to people is you have to push for what you want. But when you go into the doctor's office and you ask for test AZ, BD, whatever it is, know why you're getting them. If you think, oh, I need a thyroid panel. I don't think my thyroid's, working very well. Okay, well, what do you need? Do you need a basic panel? Do you need an extended panel? If you need an extended panel, why do you need it? And if you go in there and say, I'm not feeling very well, my hair's falling out, I'm putting on weight, I really think there's something wrong with my thyroid because X, Y, Z, and I think that this is going to help, they're much more likely to listen to you than if you say, well, my health or my nutritionist told me I needed it.
Right. And going in with confidence and speaking like your doctor is, you're employing him. He's literally like your employer. You are the boss here. It's your body. And Maggie, I could not agree with you more. In fact, I just posted on Facebook yesterday, Michael Jackson would have turned 60.
No way.
Yep, he would have turned 60 yesterday. And it incenses me, the loss of his life, as well as the loss of millions of people's lives, either by death or becoming addicted to medications, or decreased quality of life because of medical mismanagement and people not educating themselves and not becoming their own expert. And I think the thing is, there's so much information out there now on the internet, and there are people like you two, where anybody here, you guys, if you have questions, PM these guys on Facebook and ask something if this is resonating with you, to get an idea of what are some of the tests that you need to take, and then look them up online and go into your doctor. If my doctor doesn't do what I tell them to do, they're fired. I go to a different doctor because they're not listening to me, and you need to, again, in my background as a physical therapist, there is no one that knows your body better than you. There's no one that knows you better than you, and never lose confidence in that. And I think it can be very intimidating. If nothing else, learn some of these skills.
But I think here's the key, that you have to be listening. And again, what we teach on the program, what we teach everybody is you are the driver of this. Nobody else can do the work for you. If you're going to join a program and do the work, because it's not going to get done for you. Yeah. And the other sort of addition to being your own health advocate is make sure you always get a copy of your tests, and you keep a copy at home.
Absolutely.
So that, say you then go to a naturopath or you go to a nutritionist, not that holistic nutritionists can make diagnoses, but they can look over it and in their own head sort of come up with a plan.
Sure.
But, a number of clients have come to me and said, oh yes, I've had X, Y, and Z test. Okay, so what are the results? I'm just curious. I'm not diagnosing or anything. And they're like, I don't know, I didn't get a copy. I was like, you're right to get a copy of your results and keep them with you so that you can track your own health and you can see what's working and what's not working. But you being whoever it is in the world, whether you do our program or you don't, you're the driver of this vehicle. You're the only one that can make changes, and it will take time.
Absolutely.
It's taken you a long time to get here. It's going to take you a long time to get out the other side.
Absolutely.
And our philosophy is that we're not putting Band-Aids on. Out of our toolbox of tools, strategies, and whatever, it's to help people have small, sustainable changes. And, get to the root cause. Don't just put a Band-Aid over and it'll be okay. You know, like with your weight, I'd just go on a diet for a week. Like it's not like that. It's, you know,
Sure.
get down to what are you actually eating and then tweaking bits and pieces in your actual diet day to day. So we're all about taking things back, doing small, simple steps that have long-lasting results, you know, sustainable changes down the track. And so, as Maggie said, you know, in the situation we're in right now, how did we get here? It's taken a while. It's just like, you know, people that are overweight from bad diets, you say, well, you are what you eat. You know, you've probably enjoyed every mouthful to get where you're at, but it's not going to go in a day. So you have to be prepared to want to change and put in the work. But it doesn't have to be with a negative connotation. It can be fun. You know, it's really fun just...
Well, it needs to be.
Yeah, absolutely, because otherwise why do it, you know? So
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think one of my favorite quotes, actually, and it's in my journal, I'm probably not going to say it properly, but it's by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who was one of our nation's best presidents. He was a 4-term president, which doesn't happen anymore. But what he said was, you know, try something. Basically, that was the gist of it. You know, try it, you know, see a method, give it a try. If it doesn't work, admit it frankly, but above all, try something. So if you're not going to do anything, nothing is going to change for you. And I believe firmly, and I've always said this to my patients, the answer for you is out there. It's up to you to find it. And again, you know, think about, well, how do you find the right fit? Well, you know, again, if somebody says something that resonates with you, oh, okay, well, they might be a good person for me to kind of move towards and ask more questions. And does that feel right to me? Every time that I've gone, and it only happened once, where I went with a medical doctor, actually a oral surgeon, and he was literally trained by a family member. So I had immense trust in him, but I didn't feel about it, and sure enough, I had a complication. And so I did not listen to myself, and I think that's the best way, because again, you're like, well, there's so many things out there. What should I try? Again, I think maybe the best way to look at it is to, you know, do your research on the individuals, interview them, and also I think when you're involved in an intervention, you know, you give it a finite amount of time, and if it works, then that's, you know, then it works, and if not, then try something else.
You know, I just thought of this just came to me. It's like an aha moment. I just thought of what most people do is they go on a hope diet. I hope this diet's going to work, or I hope this exercise regime is going to work. Instead of looking at what they're eating and what they're doing, what they're moving, etc., and ask yourself, is it a whole food? Is this a vegetable? Is this a fruit? Am I walking every day? There's no hope dieting in any of that. That, if you eat whole foods, seasonal foods, local foods, and you move every day, you're going to be healthy. Like, there's no two questions about it. There's no, oh, I hope this broccoli will make me, you know, feel better. You know it's going to make you feel better. So let's get rid of the, you know, the hope in our dieting or our medical system or whatever it is we choose. Go for what our body knows. And as Sally says, we're not only what we eat, though. We're what we digest, we absorb and assimilate. So you could be eating, you know, the best diet in the world, but if you're not mentally, physically, and emotionally fit, it's not going to matter, because that is just going to make that toxic and make that a problem for your body. So we have to think of the body as a whole, body, mind, and spirit, because everything has a connection.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And that's why we're called Your Holistic Fit, because we look at all aspects of it all. And, you know, and back on that point, Mags, you know, and particularly when you've got a lot of stress, it affects all of your digestion, all of the inside. And there's a quote or a saying that I say all the time, nothing changes if nothing changes. So, you know, it's just going to stay the same and keep repeating the pattern. So yeah, so Maggie and I have come up, are launching a program in line with what we're talking about. It's called Surviving to Thriving, and it's a 6-week online program commencing next week. We work with both men and women, but this program is specifically designed for perimenopausal women, and it's to help them move from that survival mode into a thriving mode so that they have more energy, less stress, living a simpler life and having more fun. I mean, as simple as that. And it's once again just doing simple, small steps that they can just start tweaking along the way, nothing too hard. It's one thing a week, and over 6 weeks. In this day and age, there's so much information. You've got to be doing this, you've got to be doing that, and it's overwhelming. Where do I start? So we're just holding people's hands and just helping them get started. And it might be as simple as starting to drink more water, like really important stuff, or work around sleep, or, let's start looking at what we can tweak in your diet. It's all about balance, 80-20, whatever. But we're not, we're not on this planet because we're perfect, but we're just trying to, tweak up a few better habits to build into your lifestyle, and sort of stop and look within and look at what your whole body, and, from the inside to the out, what are you putting into it, or what are you subjecting to every day, and that sort of thing, and really stopping and looking and say, hey, I could actually do that. I could actually start drinking a bit more water, and hey, I'm starting to feel better, because that will then help with these sustainable changes. So that's
what I, looking through your program myself, what I in particular really liked about it is that, there's a lot of things that people can change. And again, it's about finding what works for you. But I think based upon your experience and my experience in health and wellness, and I've been doing alternative health for myself since I was 14. So wow. I have quite a bit of experience in it personally. And as well as professionally. And what I noticed is that you really focus on like the real key things, because again, somebody can make a change with one thing, but you want to hit the changes that are going to make the difference. And I think it's the biggest difference. The things that you've chosen have really made the biggest difference in my life, as well as the lives of other people. The aspects that you're choosing with this program can make the most bang for your buck, I think, is really what I'm trying to say. Because there are some real factors that might be a little bit more important than others. Obviously, everybody is different, but that's one of the things I really thought was special and unique to your program.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to do it simply, sleep.
Yeah.
Everybody needs sleep.
Yeah.
And, Sally and I talk about this a lot, is that people do not value it as much as they should. They just think, oh, it's passive. I don't do anything when I sleep. I can scrimp on a few hours. It's not the case at all. So much goes on. So much detoxification of the brain and the body goes on that if you don't sleep, you're absolutely not ever going to be losing weight. That's for sure.
You're not resetting your body, so
it's critical. So.
Yeah, and the research supports that over and over and over again. There was a great documentary on HBO about it. I don't remember the name, but it's daunting. And then, people can have medical reasons for not being able to sleep, like sleep apnea. So, again, getting people to start recognizing, hey, I'm not sleeping well. Why am I not sleeping well? The temperature in my house, is it stress? Is it maybe physical? That's where the medical community is vital. I think to go ahead and diagnosing certain things that we can change by just making some adaptations. So yeah, absolutely. I know my life is ruined if I don't get sleep. It was the only conversation I had with my unborn child prior to giving birth. I'm like, you let me sleep. That's all I asked. I just need you to sleep.
Did she?
She did. She did. Yeah, she slept her first full night. She used to get up like once, which I can deal with during the night, I think by 6 weeks.
Wow.
And I was breastfeeding exclusively.
Oh.
So, yeah.
She listened.
Yeah. He listened. Yeah, I did not talk often, but it was important. What are some of the other things that you think are really key or integral that must happen in order for, people, and particularly perimenopausal women? What would you say your top 3 is? How about we finish up with that? Maggie?
Well, my first one, I had 2. Sorry, Sally. We're the same. The first one would be sleep. Like I was an insomniac for about 2 years, and I thought that was normal.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, this is not normal. So you need to work on your sleep, and you need to do whatever it takes by taking medication, in my opinion, to get to sleep. Mm-hmm. The other one would be is your diet. That, and people say to me all the time, not necessarily relating to diet, but, well, my mom's diabetic, so I'm obviously going to be a diabetic. Hang on. Mm-hmm. That is not the case at all. There's something called epigenetics. Let's not go into it right now, but you can turn your genes on and off depending on a number of factors. So Absolutely. Yes, if you live the same lifestyle and you think the same way, potentially that could happen. Mm-hmm. But if you make these changes, why would it? You're a healthy person in a healthy body with a healthy mind.
Yeah, so, absolutely, guys. If you don't know what epigenetics is, do a little research. It is fascinating. And not only can you change your own DNA, but you can change the DNA of future generations, which gives me chills. So epigenetics, I'll put that down in the comments. Thank you.
Yeah.
So we got sleep, we got diet, and do you have another one?
Well, I've got 2. So
okay, so we'll move to bonus.
Like my area, of course, is fitness, but that's actually not top there. It's mindset, the way you think and
I would agree.
Feel about everything. And in line with that also is your self-worth, self-belief, all that sort of stuff, and self-love. So
that tends to go down a lot during perimenopause, because you've spent the past 10 years plus, or that sort of range, caring for other people, putting other people first. You're not important. You'll put their air mask on first before you put yours on. And when it comes to perimenopause, and potentially not us, because we're sort of the older generation, I guess, but most people, they're children of, that they don't need them as much. They potentially have gone off to college or whatever age that they had their children, and they're like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
And they sort of
right now.
Yeah, they either panic or they think, what the heck have I just been doing for the past 15 years? And their whole life changes, and they get themselves back. They make massive changes, but with massive change, also comes the other stuff that comes with it, but that you have to deal with. So mindset is absolutely crucial.
Absolutely.
Yeah, particularly because when you're run down and exhausted, and you're and you're living in that survival mode, yourself doesn't even register on the top 10. You're just so busy trying to get through and just do the basics and make sure the kids are fed and whatever else needs to be done, dinner on the table, all that sort of stuff, that by the time you stop and look for yourself, it just doesn't happen. And we empower people to get back in touch with themselves and reconnect with themselves, and let things go and put life into perspective, and their own lives to perspective of what's really important. And really, is it on the catastrophe scale? Is it that important to worry about and stress about?
Right.
Some things you can change and some things you can't. And if you can't change them, you work different ways around to deal and cope with it. So that's what we've done. And we've really loved our journey. And as I said, we've had parallel lives. And
sure.
That's why we joined forces, because mine is more of a fitness and wellness area background, and it's holistic nutrition and hormones, all that sort of stuff. So, just teaming our skills together. And
a dynamic duo.
Yeah, watch out.
Yeah,
that's a new one. I like it.
Yeah, these 2 ladies know their stuff. And going back, Sally, with your mindset, again, some research out there has said that just thinking a muscle to get stronger will make it stronger. They're
Absolutely.
in your brain. And you know what? When you are physically exhausted, your mind is still working. So use it. Use it to envision the changes that you want to make in your life. And I've come to my own epiphany just this week is that we cannot control anything in our lives except for our minds. And it starts with the mind. The mind is going to make the decision to change the nutrition, make the decision to find the ways to go ahead and get more sleep, make the decision of what we want to be. And I'll just share something personal is that when I meditate, I don't meditate my weight, but I meditate the body fat percentage that I aspire, that I plan to achieve. I also go through my systems, and if I'm feeling pain, I go from a 10 out of 10 to a 0 out of 10, or I envision myself doing something physically that I want to achieve. And all of that, it's what Olympic athletes are trained to do, professional athletes are trained to do, and we can use that in our own lives. So we're going to need to wrap this up. So any closing thoughts, Sally?
No, well, thank you. I've really enjoyed our convo today, but Maggie and I are just so passionate about you don't have to have an average life. You can actually have an awesome one and create it today. And it doesn't have to be huge changes. It's just small, simple things that you can start doing right now to give you a much better quality of life. And it's not so much now, it's also down the future, So
Absolutely. We don't like to think about that.
And Maggie, you know what? I think Sally and I made a bit of a mistake. Sorry, Sally. Oh, well, because the price of the program is ridiculous because there's two of us doing this program. Like right. we priced it and we thought, yeah, that feels good. And then we're like, oh, sorry, it's breakfast time, so the blend is going. Can you still hear me?
Yes.
So I thought, so retrospectively, I thought, oh, hang on. There's you doing this and me doing this. So people get two people. It should have been way higher. So this is the only time it's actually going to be this price.
Awesome. So everybody out there, go ahead and take advantage of these two. Like I said, you will not be disappointed. The dynamic duo. And I'm really grateful to have you on here. And I know you embody this, and this is something I said to myself where I realized, in turning 49, was that, literally my life is half over. And I've had a great first half, but I've getting better second half. And that's my intention.
Yeah.
And, and these guys are out there so that we can have a better second, a better second act. We're on the second of life, like it or not, unless something miraculously changes in our, in our worlds and that kind of thing. And it can either be
awesome or crap.
So grateful that you guys are doing this so that they don't wind up like Michael Jackson and Prince and, go down a rabbit hole of a not wonderful life, because there are people out there like you doing amazing programs that will change people's lives.
Thank you so much for being here, Maggie and Sally. And for more information, you can click on the link in the box below to find out more information about the program, or check them out on Your Holistic Fit Facebook page. I hope you enjoyed watching Maggie and Sally and myself talk about some women's issues, and I want to thank you all for watching, and please leave any questions or comments in the section below. Until next time, take good care of your body and your soul. It's the only true home that you have.